Hey, welcome back my friends to Aprons On. It's a balmy 35 Celsius and going up out here in the Black Hills of South Dakota, and what better thing to make on a really stinking hot day, some nice salsa. So that's what we're going to do. You may remember in my last video I said that we would be doing something with some really hot peppers. The really hot peppers are these little rascals, the infamous Carolina Reaper. We're going to make one batch of salsa with those, and I've got an assortment of peppers because not everybody likes really spicy food. So I'm going to do a sort of a hottest kind of a thing. But before I start chopping any of these peppers up, I want to just make the base of the salsa up first. So the tomatoes, the tomatillos, the onions, shallots, garlic, cilantro, these little cherry tomatoes, salt and pepper. But let's have just a close-up look at the ingredients, and then we'll start chopping stuff up. So not all of these vegetables came out of my garden, some of them did. This is a great time to make salsa actually, because if you do have a garden, you'll know this. You can't give the stuff away fast enough once your garden really starts producing. So this is a great way to use this up, because this salsa freezes really well. So just going through, these are just your regular tomatoes. The tomatillos, these are like a little Mexican husk tomato. They got a lovely delicate flavor. See it a lot. It's a big staple in Mexican food. Forms the basis of the green salsa verde actually. We've got some serranos, the little skinny green ones, which are quite a bit hotter than the jalapenos. These are Fresno hot chilies. Whoops. I chewed one of these up before we got started, and yeah, I think they're about the same as a serrano, but they got the nice color. These are just some banana peppers from my garden that they start out yellow, but if you leave them be, they turn a beautiful red. We've got some garlic, some shallots, 3 onions, like 3 bunches of cilantro, bit of basil. I know basil probably isn't a traditional salsa ingredient, but I just love basil. And these are a bunch of our little cherry tomatoes that every day it seems I get a bowl that size. And then whatever olive oil you've got around, it just adds, it just adds something to the salsa, I think, to have a little bit of olive oil in it. And then this is not an advertisement for yellowtail. This is just an inexpensive Aussie Pinot Grigio. You could use Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, whatever you want to do. Before we start chopping up though, just a quick word of caution. Most of these peppers are fairly innocuous. They're pretty hot. Serranos, they're pretty hot. But you get down here to these Carolina Reapers, they are insanely hot. And you do need to be a little careful with washing your hands before you do anything else. Specifically using the toilet. Definitely want to wash your hands before you go in, because you'll really know about it. One little tip I picked up years ago from my friend Addy is that if you've been chopping up peppers, just run your fingers through your hair, and the oils in your hair will actually pull the oils off of your fingers, and it really does seem to work. I haven't really tried it with these, but it certainly has worked on some of these lower ones. So all right, let's get stuck in. Let's start chopping some stuff up then. Beauty of working outside is I can give all those little bits to the deer. So let's get these tomatoes chopped up first. Now when I do tomatoes for salsa, I quarter them first, and then I run the knife just gently under the seeds and take the seeds out, and it just leaves you then with that nice little sliver. Get some nice, fairly sort of uniform pieces of tomato. and it's just a whole lot easier to cut them up that way than with all the seeds in. So that is what we're going to do with those, and I'm just going to get on and finish that up. So just sort of work your way through these. There's no big rush. We're going to use the seeds to add some moisture back, so we don't want to waste those. And basically do the same thing with the tomatillos. Just pull this little husk off. So I think the easiest way to cut the tomatillos is just go through them like centimetre slices. And then run through both ways. Seems to work to get them about the same size as the tomatoes. A lot of chopping. So there's our tomatillos. This is one of those food items that really does look actually very pretty. Getting some really nice colours now. Next, we're just going to chop up some of these shallots, or shallots if you're from this side of the pond. So you don't have to go too crazy with these shallots. And if you can't find any, it's not a big deal. I just like them. They're just got a slightly nicer flavour than your old Mark I onion. Finally got a little bit of shade. The sun has gone behind this nice big pine tree, and it feels really nice. All right, there we go. There's our shallots. Onions are exactly the same as that, so I won't bore you with chopping those up. I'm also going to put in quite a bit of garlic because we're making a huge big bowl of this salsa. Yeah, probably what, 3, 6, 9, about a dozen cloves of garlic. And you just want to crush them under your blade. Makes the skin really easy to take off. It helps to release the oils that are in the garlic. That's what we want for the nice flavour. So, got a nice bit of breeze coming now. It's sort of taking care of the garlic skins for me. It's actually quite good. Automatic garlic peeling. I like that. Our onions are all done. Got them in. Just strain the juice out of these tomatoes back into the bowl there. And we can just sort of chop through these before we put them back in. Can start putting some of our nice herbs in. Now I like a lot of cilantro. I think it's a really great flavour, or coriander. If you're in Europe. In the States we call the leaves cilantro, but only the seeds coriander. Quite how that came about, I don't know. Let's pluck the leaves off of this basil. Got a few more of my little tomatoes here. Now, we've got just a lovely bowl of just beautiful vegetables and herbs, and we need to give it a good season. So, a really good 2 pinches, big pinches of salt, a couple of good pinches of pepper, and then let's just start mixing this all up with our hands. And it smells, oh God, that smells so wonderful, I tell you. It's juicy, it's fresh. I want to get a bit of olive oil in there and a little bit of white wine, and then we'll give it a taste, see how it is for seasoning. I would say you want to do probably 2 or 3 tablespoons of oil in something like this, and you can sort of do it. The more you do this, the better idea you'll get how much you want. And wine, I think I'm going to add, yeah, this will be, in America, and that's probably a good cup and a bit. Probably should have tasted it before I put it in there, shouldn't I? The thing is, it's been sitting out in this hot weather while I've been cutting everything else up, and it's warm Pinot Grigio, but that's all right, he says, grimacing. It's great for cooking. If you want a salsa that looks more like the picante sauce or the salsa that you buy in the supermarket, which is a lot redder, all you need to do at this point, frankly, is add some tomato, you know, unsweetened tomato sauce in a can. Not ketchup, that's going to have loads and loads of sugar in it. So this is going to be a really great base. So I'm going to put some of this in a jar, which is just completely with no spices in at all. So there's our plain one. So there's no chili peppers in this one at all. That's just the vegetables that we cut up. That can go in the fridge. Now I'm just going to cut up these jalapenos, seeds and all. You know, you really can't tell that much difference, so I am going to put these other 2 in. There. And once this has had a chance to sit overnight, all these flavors start to blend together, and then it really gets good. So there's our medium one. Now I think we'll do a medium plus. How's that? So that will call for some serranos. Okay, this one's going to have a bit more backbone to it. So these are those banana peppers. They really don't have too much spice at all, but they do have some. So I left them out of the base. So I'm just going to put those in little rings like that. I think those will be quite nice, pretty looking actually. See, I told you this video is going to be a lot of chopping. Hopefully you're finding it relaxing, inspirational. So we got 4 serranos. So these little babies have a little bit more punch than the jalapenos, so this should certainly bring the heat up quite a bit when we add these. So let's get those in there. And now our little Fresno peppers. A little bit more olive oil. And a little bit more wine. What I like is that combination of heat and sweet. And I find that adding a little wine to it adds a little bit of sweetness and it offsets the harshness of the peppers. You better have a little taste to see how this one is. That's really, really nice. That's got a lovely warm heat, not harsh. Okay, let's put our first Reaper pepper in. Okay, that's our first Reaper pepper in. Let's see how that is. Oh yes, can certainly tell. Yeah, that's going to be good. All right, I forgot to mention something before I started cutting these really hot peppers up. And this would apply if you're using like Naga chilies, Bujalaquias, habaneros, Carolina Reapers. You'll find that the pepper oils will soak in to a wooden board, and it's a bit of a devil to get out actually. So here is our Hot Plus, I'm calling this one. And I promised the family I would use completely different containers for the really hot lot, so that there's absolutely no chance that somebody grabs the wrong one. So we're cutting this on a nylon board, look, because it won't absorb the oils from the pepper like the wood will. And you can throw this in the dishwasher and it'll come right off. I only know this because the first time I started messing with these hotter peppers, I chopped some up the night before, and in the morning I made a sandwich. Couldn't figure out for the life of me why my sandwich was so spicy, and it was the oil on the cutting board. There we go. All right, that should have some serious heat, but because it's with all these other nice vegetables, it will have some lovely flavour too. You can just take a few of those Reaper flakes. Now somebody asked me the other day, it's quite an interesting question, I thought, are the dried peppers hotter than the fresh ones? Well, I can attest personally to this. I've eaten whole dried Ghost and Carolina Reaper peppers, and they're hot. They're just really, really hot. But it's sort of a delayed action, and I think it's because if it's a dried pepper, obviously there's no moisture in it, but you do still have the same amount of capsaicin in the pepper. And so what happens is when you chew up on a dried Reaper chili, you think, oh, this isn't so bad. You know, you're about 2 minutes in and yeah, it's hot, but you're still alive. But then you start to salivate profusely as your body recognizes this foreign substance. And as soon as you start to really salivate, then your saliva moves that capsaicin around your mouth much more efficiently. And then there's really no difference between that and a fresh one. Fresh one just has more juice right at the beginning, and you can just feel it, you know, just quicker. Well, this measured out just about right. Let's clear a little space here. Yeah, don't laugh, I just put them in Parmesan cheese jars. So we got our plain one, that's where we started. We added some jalapenos, 4 of them, to get our medium. Then we added the serranos and the what were those, Fresno chilies. Then we added to that 1 Carolina Reaper, and then these have the remainder, so that's got a little bit of all the other peppers, and then 2 whole Carolina Reapers in them. So I'm going to leave it there because I want to put these in the fridge overnight and let these flavors like really meld together. So thanks very much for watching. I will see you in the morning and we'll do a taste test. Welcome back. It's not the morning, and as you can see, the weather's changed quite a bit here. It changed so much, my hair shrunk. I actually got a haircut. I noticed when I was reviewing my footage, I was looking like Wurzel Gummidge. All day today, it's been absolutely chucking it down, which has been great because when I spoke to you last, we were pushing 100 degrees, and now it's just started to warm up because the sun's come out, but I think we were 58 today. So big difference from yesterday, but we got lots of wonderful moisture. So the net result was I couldn't get out and sit outside like I wanted to and taste some of this salsa. But we've got some out, and not going to go in too much detail here, but just make sure you put it in the fridge overnight. It really does make a difference. It gives a chance for the flavors to sort of get to know each other and soften a little bit. You'll lose some of the harshness from the onions and the shallots, especially if you use a little bit of white wine in there. It really sort of balances out that acidity. So I've got just the plain one that doesn't have anything in it at all, a medium, and then the really hot one that we made with the 2 Carolina Reapers in. And I got to tell you, my daughter loves this one. It doesn't have any peppers in it at all. It's really light and refreshing. It's absolutely delicious. And if you'll excuse me while I have a quick bite. Yeah, you've got to give this a try. If you've got vegetables in the garden, it's sort of a no-brainer. And if you don't, nip to the supermarket while they're readily available because of the season. The medium, got a little bit of spice. The one I was really surprised with, actually, was the one that we put the Carolina Reapers in. I was expecting it to be a lot hotter than it was, but I think by the time it's combined with all of the other vegetables, and we got some white wine and some olive oil in there as well, it really takes that hard edge off of those peppers, and then you can really get it's a really delicious warm heat, almost the same kind of heat you get from ginger. So I've been really pleased with this one. I mean, I could eat this by the spoonful all day long. It's absolutely great. And if you live somewhere where maybe you don't have access to fresh peppers, you can always use dried ones. You can either crush them up under your knife, chop them up, or you can stick the whole dried pepper in boiling water for about 20 minutes. Not too much boiling water because you don't want to pull too much of the flavour out, but it'll rehydrate it, and then you can chop it up, and it gets a little bit closer to like a fresh one. And if you don't have those, I suppose you could start with this, the plain one. You could put a teaspoon of cayenne pepper in there if you wanted to kick it up and you didn't have access to some more exotic spices. But there you go. I hope you've enjoyed this. And I just got a little piece of that Reaper went down by my tonsil. So there you have it. That's my take on a fresh garden salsa. You might do it different. This is how I do it. I hope you give it a try, especially with the olive oil and the white wine added to it. It really does make a noticeable difference, I think. Now, this will keep in its jars in the fridge. You keep it easily for a week in the fridge. If you're going to not use it in that time, then just pop it in the freezer. And what I would do is just don't put the lids on right away in the freezer. Leave them off. It shouldn't expand very much at all when it freezes, but if you filled your jar all the way to the top and you've got the lid screwed on and you freeze it, you're going to break your jar. So put it in, let it freeze up, then put your lids on. And honestly, I've kept it all through the winter. It's a really nice treat. And you get those first lovely warm spring days. You want to sit outside, have a glass of wine, maybe make some nachos with your salsa from the previous summer. And it's just such a lovely treat. So thank you all very much for watching and subscribing. I really do appreciate it. Keep if I could talk. Keep hitting the like button if you like the videos, and leave comments if you feel so inclined. And I will see you in the next video really soon. Thanks a bunch, guys. Cheers.